Hey, what's up guys? Coach U here. We're going to talk about the side plank and how to properly set up and how to progress and get a little stronger in that position. All right guys, so the first thing we're going to do is the setup and how to set up properly for the side plank, starting with the elbow, okay? So when you get on the ground, start on your hips here. What you want to make sure is that elbow is directly under the shoulder, and I want you to drive your fist into the ground as much as you can, okay? From there, we want to make sure that we're pushing up through the shoulder here. I'm not even caring about this yet because we need to get this situated. So when you do end up getting up, you're not collapsing into that shoulder and putting a ton of pressure here into the front of the shoulder. You need to be pushing up, and I tell people, drag the ground under you. So I want that lat turned on, I want our back of the shoulder turned on, and that's going to help us get our core engaged a lot more. So that's the first thing, get the shoulder set up properly first. All right, once we have that set up, we're going to go into our first progression. Okay, this is the most basic, simple way you can get a side plank in. You want to get the knees stacked on top of one another. The back of the feet should be even with your back on the backside. And then we're going to drive our hips up using the knee as our other point of contact, okay? So our elbow's driving through the ground, fist is driving through the ground, knees driving through the ground, and we're holding this right here, making sure that we're not poking the hips out too far, and we're also not rounding this way. We're nice and straight, nice straight line, pushing up. Holding it just like that. This is your kneeling side plank variation. Next, we're going to go into a kneeling side plank with a clam. So now we're going to open this up. We're going to rotate the leg open. You can also pick up the whole leg. So either one of these exercises are going to work very well in this position. You're going to feel that bottom glute having to stabilize. So again, you can open, you can lift the leg up, and we're trying to keep everything in place. We shouldn't be getting all wonky and crazy with the hips. Everything needs to stay in place. Be smooth with your motions. Boom, boom, boom. Side plank, hip raise with the clam. Next exercise progression is we're going to go from the bottom knees, going to be on the ground still, except this time instead of stacking, we're going to straighten out that top leg. So you can start from that position, and then we're going to take that leg straight out. With this, I'm not just letting that leg hang there and my foot's all dangly. I want you to push the foot away from your body as much as you can. So your reaching is way, 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 way far out that way while this leg is driving into the ground. Now my top glute is getting a ton of work. This glute's getting a ton of work. My obliques are getting a ton of work. My lats, everything, all the way head to toe is working. All right, now we're going to go into a double straight leg. So we're going to take that bottom leg now. We're going to drive that leg and that foot into the ground because that's going to be our point of contact. Okay, so we're going to go up. We're going to get that other foot stacked on top. If this position is too much for you, you can also take the other foot and place it here. And then as you get stronger from this position, you take this guy back and hold that position. Everything else from the side plank variation applies. We're driving that elbow into the ground, trying to drag the ground under us, driving that foot into the ground. Tush is nice and tight. Head to toe, we're nice and solid. So one last progression that we're going to add is external resistance. So you can use a band, you can attach it to anything that's going to hold it enough as an anchor. You can also use a cable pulley system, and you can even use a dumbbell in this position. But we're going to start with the band here, okay? I'm going to go into the full-on last progression that we went to. And again, you can do this from almost any side plank position. What we're going to do is we're going to row and we're going to pull. It's not about the row here necessarily. We don't need a ton of weight. We need enough so that it's forcing us to stabilize from rocking left and right. You also don't need to crank the elbow back too far. Come back so the elbow just goes past the rib cage, not much further than that, right there. And a good controlled fashion. Everything else is staying stable. And this is going to add a ton of tension to that core, and I promise you, it's going to light those abs on fire.